It's like saying, I know you did all this. I know you gave me a brand new life. I know that no matter what I'm going through, I have hope now because I will spend all of eternity with you. I don't have to go to hell. I don't have to be punished. You took punishment. You took everything that I ever did. You bore it for yourself. You did all of that. But if you really loved me, that's not enough. I don't take all of that. I get all that, but why do I have to go through this? What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the channel. So it all started when I was thinking about the story of Gideon, and that's found in, I forgot where it was found. Judges chapter 6 is the beginning of the story of Gideon. Many of you are familiar with the story because it's where God calls Gideon a mighty man of valor. And it was at a time where Gideon was kind of hiding out and he was actually very scared. So he wasn't a man of valor, but God kind of called Midian into who God seen. Oh, Midian. God called Gideon. God called Gideon into an identity that God had already put on the inside of Gideon. But I was thinking about the story and I was reading in here, and something that Gideon says and a response that Gideon has to the angel of the Lord when God sends an angel to talk to Gideon was super crazy, is like the only way I know how to describe it. Brave, bold. Let me just read it to you. Judges chapter 6 and verse 12, it says, the angel of the Lord appeared to him and he said to him, the Lord is with you, O valiant warrior, or mighty man of valor, some translations put it. And this is Gideon's response to the angel. Now remember, Gideon is talking to an angel of the Lord. Just listen. Then Gideon said to him, O my Lord, if the Lord is with us, then why have all these things happened to us? And where are his miracles which our fathers told us about, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hands of Midian. And here is the thing that I think is super interesting about this whole thing. If an angel of the Lord visits you and says, God is with you, maybe I'm just being super like prideful or whatever. I don't feel like my first response is going to be, yeah, God's not with me. He's talking to an angel. I've never been visited by an angel, so I can't honestly say that if an angel started talking to me that I wouldn't just like correct him and be like, oh, no, I don't believe that, but I really don't feel like I would. An angel saying this. It's not like Bob from down the road has a Bill came up to me and said, God is with you, then I may not would trust Bill. I don't know Bill's track record, but this is an angel saying, hey, Gideon, God is with you. Okay, but get serious. We got to get serious. For real. Okay, so here it is. Here is the mindset. Here is what I want to point out, and something that I found really interesting about this that I felt like was super relatable to me. I'm not saying that what Gideon was going through was not a very serious, a very depressing, a very difficult time, but Gideon was so focused on his circumstances that even when an angel from the Lord came and was trying to tell him and call him into something, he said, no, I don't believe that. If God was really with me, then I wouldn't be going through all of this. If God was really with us, we wouldn't be facing all these situations. And see, we read that and sometimes we can say, yeah, well, I understand that. And yeah, I can kind of relate to that, but I feel like that's a very, very dangerous mindset and place to be. So now we are in a completely different position than what Gideon was in. We are not allowed to make comments like that. We are not allowed to have the if questions. If God really, we are not allowed to do that. This video is not meant to be condemning because I've been there. I've thought things like that. I've said things like that. But when you really break down that mindset and dig into it, do we really understand what we're thinking and what we're saying and how big of a deception that really is? When life hits, when circumstances hit, when things really just punch us right in the gut and life happens, things happen, we're not allowed to go to that. If God really loved me, then why am I going? If God is really called, and all those if questions, that is like saying, let me put it to you this way. If we respond the way that Gideon responded back then, now, it's like saying, Jesus, I know that you went through everything that you went through, and you took stripes and you took beatings and everybody cursed you, and you were nothing but good and people treated you nothing but bad. You raised people from the dead, and then they took a murderer and they let a murderer off of death row and said, let's crucify you. You were nothing but good and they treated you nothing but bad. Jesus, I know you did all that for me. God, I know that you sent your only son who you love so much and you had to watch him go through all of that. It's like saying, I know you did all this. I know you gave me a brand new life. I know that no matter what I'm going through, I have hope now because I will spend all of eternity with you. I don't have to go to hell. I don't have to be punished. You took punishment. You took everything that I ever did. You bore it for yourself. You did all of that. But if you really loved me, that's not enough. I don't take all of that. I get all that, but why do I have to go through this? And what really ends up happening is we take the love of God and we take God and we stack it up against our circumstances. And somehow in our eyes, we let our circumstances outweigh everything that God did for us. And we get to asking all of the wrong questions like, God, if you loved me, look what God did for us. Look what Jesus did for us. So check this out. This is Hebrews chapter 12. This is verses 1, 2, and 3. This is our mindset, guys. This is how we avoid that deception. This is how we avoid the trick of the enemy to get us to think that our circumstances outweigh what God did. And we should judge how much God loves us and cares for us based on what we're going through, not based on what he was willing to go through. Dang, that's good. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us lay aside every encumbrance and sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, he's the author and the perfecter. Some translations say he's the finisher of our faith, who the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So this is the verse I really want to get to, verse 3. This is our jump off point. This is our mindset verse right here when we find ourselves falling into that groove. Chapter 12, verse 3, it says, for consider him, talking about Jesus, for consider him who has endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. So I have to point this out. The theme of this right here is running a race. It's not stopping to be introspective and saying, look at everything it's going. No, it's talking about running a race, getting things done for the kingdom. But it says, consider him. Think about Jesus. When you start to feel yourself being overwhelmed, when you start to feel like you want to be introspective, when you want to look and be like, man, woe is me, and look at all the stuff that's going on with me, which we've all been there, guys. Like, it's so easy sometimes to have a pity party, which is pitiful. And this right here, it's not like a comparison thing. Well, like if Jesus went through all of that, I can't really complain about the little things that are going on in my life. It's not saying that. It's not saying you should feel bad for complaining because of what he went through. We shouldn't be complaining to begin with, but it's our example. It's his life. It says when you feel like you want to complain, when you feel like you're being burdened or you're going through opposition or you're just life is punching you in the gut right now, it's not like, oh, well, you got nothing to complain about. Look at him. He's our example. Look at the way that he took it all in stride. Look at the way that he operated out of love. And it says for the joy that was set before him, he knew what he was doing. He was on a mission and he looked around and he said, you know what? I could complain about all these things and get mad and get upset about all these people. I've done nothing wrong. But he walked it all out in love and he said, Father, forgive them. And he said, I'm on a mission and I can't let all those things weigh me down. When we find ourselves falling into that trap or in that groove, we have to look at him, think of him, and look at the way that he was a beast of a soldier on the field and let that be our example. I said all of that to say, don't argue with angels. Stupid. I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, I say this every video. Please, please, please don't watch YouTube all day. Don't sit on Instagram, Snapchat, and the TikToks and Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know, everything. Don't do that. Step out into the deep things of God. Study something a little different than what you've studied before. Go fishing, hunting, camping, explore the amazing world that God has given us, and we'll see you on the next video. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in again. Hands. We're gonna have to watch Hands. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Stupid.